All right, music fans, welcome back. Harmless Dave here, talking about real music in real time for a few real people. Yesterday was like 1 out of 74, just like you and just like me. You can support my channel. I'd really appreciate that, folks. That's all I can tell you. Patreon. Also, if you can support this band, Big Wolf Band, they are crowdsourcing for their third studio album. I'm just a huge fan of this band, and they have great names for their albums. Okay, A Rebel's Story, and also Be Free. And then they sent me this live album not too long ago called Live and Howlin'. So check out their website. I think it's probably bigwolfband.com. Google it. Hopefully Google will be your friend, unlike the algorithm is to me, and you'll be able to find that music. Also, for great music that corporate radio refuses to play, you can go check out modernretrofm.com. Pretty sure they're playing the new Beatles track Now and Then, the new Beatles track. And that's what this video is about. I suspected that people weren't going to be able to just leave this alone and have this be the actual last Beatles song. And here we go. Peter Jackson says it's conceivable more Beatles music could be created from old recordings. Yeah, I had a feeling. So Peter Jackson, who directed the Get Back documentary and also was in charge of the Now and Then video, says it might not be quite as final as that, meaning that the last Beatles song may not be their last song. While speaking to the UK's Sunday Times about Now and Then, Jackson was asked if there's any footage from the Get Back sessions of the band, for example, jamming on a random song or piece of music that could be turned into another new track. Peter Jackson says, well, it did cross my mind. We can take a performance. He right away just jumped right into this. We can take a performance from Get Back, separate John and George, and then have Paul and Ringo add some harmonies and or a chorus. Let me play a little bit of a devil's advocate here, okay? So you've got the 1970 versions of George and John, right? And you got the 2023 version of Ringo and Paul. Have you heard Paul singing lately? He's doing harmonies, I guess would be a little less obvious, but I think you would still hear a big difference. So the only way you could really do this is take some vocal samples from that era and try to tweak those and tune those to the song, whatever jam song that they're talking about here, which he didn't name any songs, but he perked right up when they asked him this question, meaning that, yeah, there's probably a bunch of stuff on the cutting room floor, which is scary because all of this technology, you could just put all these scraps together and come up with another song, and then wait, we're not finished. We told you this was the last Beatles song, but we were wrong. Here's the other last Beatles song. This becomes like the end of the road tour from Kiss. It just goes on, and then when it's over, they say, well, that might not really be the end of the end. It never ends, right? And it's like COVID. It just never ends. You might end up with a decent song, he says. This is, again, Peter Jackson talking. But I haven't had conversations with Paul about that. He added, it's fanboy stuff, but certainly conceivable. So he hasn't talked to Paul. And Paul's going to say, well, John would have wanted this. I'm like, how do you know John would have wanted this? You don't know. I mean, Yoko can tell everybody that John would have wanted this. The song, by the way, the Now and Then song is being talked about as a way that of John basically apologizing to the Beatles. Like he says he's sorry in this song for some of the things that he did, and there's a difference between now and then. And yeah, I'll tell you what, John was on a roll. Double Fantasy, that was just fantastic. I mean, to me, that restored John's credibility as a songwriter. He wasn't just unhinged, singing some weird song, which he did quite a bit during the 70s. This was something where you could tell there was a maturity, there was growth. There was somebody who was probably much more domesticated at that point, and maybe realized some of that sort of crazy idealism that the Beatles were kind of famous for back in the late 60s into the 70s. Maybe some of that was misguided. We'll say it like that. This is what Jackson says. It sounds like John is writing a message to the rest of the Beatles as an apology for however he may have behaved. I found that incredibly moving, and that the final Beatles song is the Beatles singing to each other. In the same interview, McCartney says he wants to hang on to the Beatles just as much as the fans do. I like the idea of not letting go of each other, he says, noting that when you love someone, you don't want to let them go. They're in your memory, always in your heart. And yes, that's certainly true of me and the boys, according to Paul McCartney. Here's the deal, right? There is one good aspect of this. Now, of course, I'm worried that they're going to just, hey, we just made another Beatles song today. Really? How'd you do that? You know, and you're going to hear, it wasn't really AI. It was something else that did it. It was, we took this and we melded that together, but it wasn't actually AI. Folks, there's going to be some AI. It may not be like auto-tuned AI, unless you're talking about the Ringo Paul vocals from 2023 melding with the George and John stuff. I just don't think that's a wise idea, but I think it's going to happen anyway. But here's the upside to it. If people are interested again in the Beatles and rock and roll in general, okay, that's the positive, right? Maybe they'll go back and listen to the Beatles catalog or the Rolling Stones or some real music, because that's truly what's missing today. And that's why you've got to have underground internet radio stations playing new material by classic artists like Van Morrison and Eric Clapton and the Rolling Stones, and in this case, the new Beatles song. I don't know how long this should go on for, though. I mean, based on human nature, it'll probably go on for as long as they can find material to kind of cobble together and make songs. So, again, my guess is this isn't the end for new Beatles material. I mean, Peter Jackson roaring out of the gate. They're seeing the numbers on this song. They're seeing the interest again in the Beatles. I mean, when the Beatles are trending in the year 2023, that shows you two things. The Beatles are still enormously popular and interesting. And number two, it shows you how just mediocre the current music scene. I'm trying to use softer language, but we'll say disastrous. Not in all cases, but popular music today is really, really bad. The rock music, doesn't really have a chance. It's not getting any support, and hence that's why you have bands like these doing, crowdsourcing to put out an album. In any event, folks, I think I tied that all together. If you can support this channel via Patreon or through a YouTube membership, please do that. I don't know what the future is going to be for this channel, because it appears that I'm not alone in the revenue apocalypse. There are big channels that had lots of views that are now getting half as many views. Now, if I had 100,000 views on every video and suddenly I was getting 15,000 views, that would be devastating. I'm just trying to get maybe 4,000 or 5,000 views off a video, and I'm getting like 1,500 or maybe 2,000 on a good day. And some of those videos tend to keep clicking and accumulating, but in a lot of cases, they just stop cold, which is weird. It means they're not getting into any kind of a circulation or vortex where you'll see this video and then they'll recommend another video. Even if I sucked really bad, I'm talking about a topic, I might show up after you watch a video by, say, somebody with a much larger platform, because now you've seen that video, and so it should shift to other videos that are talking about this subject. And I have almost 75,000, although it's like 74.4. So we'll just say I have over 74,000 subscribers. I've been doing this for pretty soon going on 8 years doing this. And I'm feeling at this point that something's got to change. Something's got to happen. And I don't know what that is. So again, I need your support. I thank you if you're already supporting. There are a couple of RMO angels, I'll call them, out there that will do well above and beyond anything that I'm asking for to make up for what's been happening. And to put it all on them, I think is, I'm not purposely doing that. I'm asking you, the audience, to maybe step up and do a buck or two. I'm over on Patreon. I typically answer people. Sometimes I get a little cantankerous, because there's a lot of things that I have to do during the day, and I try to answer everybody's questions or comments and try to reply back in a reasonable amount of time. Sometimes that doesn't happen, but at least it's a community where, if you like this kind of content, or you like people, you want to meet other people in these chat areas on Patreon. If you want to talk to other people, there's a place you can do that. So look at it that way. And you can do like $1 a month. If I could get 1,000 more people to do $1 a month. And again, that would still be a drop in the bucket compared to how many subscribers I have. And that's really all I would need. And I would pretty much just leave people alone so long as I can maintain that. So anyway, sorry to throw that at you here at the end, but I figured it was appropriate. Thanks for watching the channel, and please pray for peace in the Middle East.